Are you ready?
Yep, let's go. Is it recording? Record. Start off and record.
No, we're good. Just go.
No, I don't.
I know how to edit. Come on.
Welcome to Bridging the Gap. This is the show where we bridge the gap between competitive and meta play. I'm Spencer.
I'm James.
Today we're going to talk about Warlight. Not focusing on entities or power batters, we're going to talk about the OP event as a whole. What we thought about it, what we liked, what we didn't like, and then we're going to talk about some of our favorite figures that came out of that event. So James, I'm going to spin it to you. What did you think about Warlight?
Overall, I liked it. I did have some negative feedback when it was announced that it was going to be booster format, because I thought it was going to be similar to Fear itself, but I really did enjoy the double waves, or wave 1 and wave 2, because it wasn't the same pieces for 6 months. Other than that, I mean, the price was okay. We had venue in town doing it cheap. We had venues in town doing it expensive.
Played all of them.
But yeah, played all of them. And, you know, it was good, but let alone that going back to our last video, you know, it wasn't cheap. Sometimes it wasn't worth spending your money on. And in fact, War of Light Month 5 last Friday I didn't actually play in because I didn't have the money. So, but other than you, what did you think?
I don't want to say I hated it, because I didn't hate it. I liked a lot of it. What I liked, I really liked. Some things I'd like to change, I think are like big changes, but just a general gloss over. A good first step as far as doing OP events, doing giant OP events where you got boosters, you got LEs. I mean, just giant things you're working towards. It's a good first step. I hear a lot that Fear itself is like people are comparing it to Fear itself. Fear itself was their test, and like they're putting their feet in the water, like testing if the thing would work. So I think we're gonna have to wait until Age of Ultron to really see what's progressed negatively or positively. I'll say that. What were some things you would improve about the event?
That would improve. I would cut back the months, which I think Age of Ultron is doing 4 months instead of 6. Because I know we're doing 1 a year, but 6 months is really hard to do because you've got, especially with multiple venues, even with one venue, it's kind of hard to do because you're getting, some weeks you're getting behind, some weeks because some people only show up for this.
Yeah.
And some people don't want to show up for regular OP events, which kind of stinks, but then again, you know, so 1 week I might have 20 people, the next week I might have 4. So, but I would definitely cut it back, so the price is real, the word I'm trying to use here, the price is reduced for the players and the venue altogether. So,
yeah.
What about you? What do you think could be improved?
What I think could be improved would be, I don't want to gloss over like coalition. Like I think that's a thing brought up in any set. I felt like this OP event was very hit or miss. Like our first month, we had a Bricker case that had like 2 chases, got a prime, we had big super rares being pulled. Like it was a great thing, and then I feel like month 2 we dropped down. Like I think another event we did, we didn't pull as much. So I feel like Coalition was a little kind of on mismap, because Spirit itself, like you got your same 3 super rares and everything. It was I think better collated, I guess, but Warlight seemed to be a little bit over the map. A big problem I had was putting those stupid chases in there. I know we said we weren't going to talk about entities. We're not going to talk about the figures in general, but putting them in there, I think it kind of cheapened the experience of Warlight. Because you when you were opening up packs, you weren't looking for even super rares at that point. You were just looking for that giant oblong base.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, does it have a power battery? Yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you were either getting Carousel or you were getting an entity, and so you saw that peanut base, and that was the only thing you were looking for was peanut base. So I feel like that kind of ruined it. I wish that they wouldn't maybe do more super rares, a giant number of super rares, and no chases.
You know what? And I think that's something they were trying to improve from Fear itself, because I think one of the biggest complaints about that was there was only 6 super rares and they were the same for 6 months. So they were like, hey, let's give you chases and super rares because you guys were like, this needs to be a real set. And I mean, how many people was it? Like it went up to like 65 figures and all just on normal set, something like that. And it was just, that was a lot of figures for a tournament OP kit.
Yeah.
So I think that was actually one of the biggest sets we've had in a while too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, taking away all the constructs, it still stands at around 100 figures.
Yeah, and then you got all the LEs, power batteries that count for separate things. So it's a pretty huge set, and if you're a collector, I'm sorry, but WizKids does not like you in this set.
It'll be a quest. I think I'll start with some things I loved about the event, and some of the things I loved. I think some of the best things that the event's done. I love that we got so many players for this. Like every month has been packed.
Well, people love the lanterns, so
yeah. There's been rumblings of lantern sets for years and years and years, and we've never gotten it. And then we get it, and the people came. Like I thought it was one of those things where it's fading in the back. No one wants it anymore. But no, people came out. We had guys like you said. We only get for these events, but it was kind of cool to see them because I knew that every week we had a war. Like when we had a war light going on, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna see all these people because they can only manage their time so well. They can only show up maybe for things that really matter, and it was cool to see them. The public response was very good, and that's what I like.
It was the Field of Dreams of Heracles.
Yep. If you put it out, they will buy.
So.
And they buyed. I mean, people are still buying Seal. I mean,
the biggest talk was like when Fear itself, the super rares came out. Like this, just using the analogy here, they were like $100, and then they dropped. They went back up, and then they dropped, and now they're like 15 to 20.
Now they're average or below average super rares.
And that's like a year later. But like everybody, when the entities came out, they were like, "Oh, these are like the super rares. They're gonna like," and even the Superboy Primes, they were like, "These are gonna drop." Well, you know what? Superboy Prime did drop. Then he jumped back up. The entities did drop a little bit, but now they're
coming back.
They're just consistent, and they'll when competitive season rolls back around, which is here pretty soon with the rocks coming up, they're gonna kind of raise back up there. So
see, and I'm curious to see where the entities lie in the price line because of the rock cage, no tactics, no entities.
Yep, so
kind of curious
that might hurt them.
Are they gonna bottom down a little bit and then raise back up for unless there's empty killers? I mean.
That's true. But it's to stay true to toy, not talk about the entities so much. But that's true, just using an analogy.
Yeah,
so.
you can't talk about Warlight and not mention them. It's passive.
That's what Warlight is.
So let's bring this home a little bit. We're trying to end this on a positive note. So we're gonna first talk about some figures, not so good figures in the set.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Well, unfortunately for me, I was stuck with the non-super rares / primes. So my pool was not as fun to pull from as Spencer's was, but there are some what I call hidden gems in this set, and I'll start off with one of my favorites in this set.
We're talking about figures we didn't like.
Oh, we're talking about figures we didn't like.
Oh, I see. You gotta come.
I got excited about this, not about this. That is Hanu. He's actually got it on his too.
Hanu. Man, I'm an absolute.
And honestly, I'm gonna be the real reason I hate this guy. He's actually a decent figure. He's like a Green Lantern Hulk in my opinion.
So up there.
But the reason I hate this guy is because I think by myself, I've pulled like 15 of these guys. And there's nothing more disheartening when you open a booster and it's kind of heavy because this dude's pretty solid. And you're like, yeah, it's an Adara or something like that. And you're just like, Hanu. And like, you don't even want to look at the rest of your pack. You're just like...
Segue. There is a difference between a heavy booster and a solid booster. A heavy booster contains... They're over there. There's entities over there. A solid booster contains this little lug.
Or this guy.
Because he's heavy.
Or this guy.
Yep.
So,
there you go. So when you're feeling them boosters, there's a difference between solid and heavy.
And honestly, I didn't dislike too many figures from the set. I didn't like Hanu, and most of them, my other ones are from Wave 1. I didn't like this guy. Crib, we also call him the baby snatcher. Because he's got babies in his hands and on his back. I don't know what that is. But, you know what, he's a decent figure too. But it was, him and Hanu were like those two rares that when you pulled them, you're just, in my opinion, unless like you love the Green Lanterns, which I do, but I'm not a hardcore Green Lantern fan, that my heart just sank when I pulled him. And luckily, I never pulled this guy, but I saw friends that did, and they were like, baby snatcher. So, what about you, other than Hanu?
I'm going to need a figure on your side that you've called a hidden gem.
That's not fair. We should want hidden gems.
No, not him.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Ooh.
Some of my dislikes from the set. I'm going to go there. And big reason, no flight symbol. I have no clue why. WizKids has not said why. We're never going to answer why.
No, WizKids said why.
They did?
Yeah,
why?
They said it's game design.
Game design, alright. So we didn't get an answer.
No, they said it's because they wanted figures to be carried. Everything in the set has a wing symbol.
So you sacrificed one of the most powerful things that DC Universe.
The way it's been described to me, and I'm going to talk about this, is he has unlimited power, and he's skipping with it. Can you imagine? And it's Hal Jordan, so it's really imaginable to see Hal Jordan just skipping through a forest.
So while Superman flies around the map, that guy plays hopscotch.
Superman always couldn't fly.
He's playing hopscotch.
Hey.
Alright, my second thing actually can't be pulled. My second figure I'm talking about can't be pulled. It can be bought. We're going to go with Sinestro from the Warlight Scenario pack. That figure is terrible. This is Warlight. This is the ultimate set of lanterns. This is where we're getting the big of the bad. And we got a terrible Sinestro. You can look at that dial, 12 ways to Sunday. It's a vanilla dial. It's running shot, pulse wave with invincible. It's on like 50 pole. It's on like 50 clicks by now. He should have had cool fear stuff, fear traits. He has a couple and they're not good. I mean, this guy should have been.
It's for the generic.
What the power they gave to this, they should have given to this. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I don't want to sound like I'm nitpicking. I mean, Sinestro is one of my favorite characters. So to see him so misly treated it's like making a bad Deathstroke. Just don't do it. Before we get to figures we called good, me and James both have two very interesting takes on one figure on James' side of the board that we'd like to discuss now. Let's clear away the head-use in the crib. I'll just take 3 new. I've already got 12. Nice little jab there. We're going to talk about this guy. It's the Weapon of Horde. Would you like to go first?
No, I'll let you go first.
You want me to go first?
I've gone first this whole time.
I've never seen a more overrated figure in clicks. I've been in the game since Cosmic Justice. Nothing is more overrated than that. He is you hit him for 2 damage, which how many characters in the game can do 3 by now? A ton. You hit him for 2. 2 passive invulnerability, and he is worthless. He is worthless. Absolutely worthless. The opening move charge is so counterable. The pickup power is not as good as you think. I think he's just overrated. He will become a crutch for new players to lean on, and they're going to find out why. And it's going to hurt the game for it.
And that's the reason why I think he's good, is because I think he is a good player for newer players coming into the game, because he's not an expensive meta piece. He is a common that is worth, or uncommon that is worth maybe $4 to $5, and he also has opening running shot as well. That's why I think his value really comes into play, because he can move 10, shoot you from 8.
Yeah.
Running shot. It's an 18 square swing with pulse wave or psychic blast, and at the upcoming rocks, which are this season, which are going to be 300 points, no tactics, which includes entities. So there's no entities, there's no team bases, there's no resources. This guy's value jumps because your Mr. Iron Pharaoh has nothing to protect him. Sorry about that. We will just let that go. We are in a house with some dogs. Someone rang the doorbell. So we're gonna
keep on going now.
But this guy, the reason why I think he is going to be good in the no tactics format of rock is because there's not many things that can stop him. Yes, you can deal 3 damage to, but guess what? Before you deal that 3 damage, he's going to hit somebody for 5 to 8 possibly. And that's why I feel like he's not great as in you can do that stuff to him, but you're going to see him and you need to be able to know what to do against him, how to play him. You're just going to have to know. And if you know what, all else fails, you might just play him. Who knows? You could go first with him. And I feel like because he's so inexpensive, and what our show is about, this guy is a gem because he's cheap, he's cost effective, and you know what? For meta play, he's tentpole, and that's what a lot of new players want to play. It's what a lot of people want to play, and he's pretty good. Don't ever play him at his lower point value though. Don't do that. He's always played at 211. You're always going to pick something awesome. If you want to charge, pick Precision Strike, so you get past their super senses too. So I mean, that's what I feel about that guy. I understand how you feel. But
I will give you a token, and we'll say that it's good that he's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap, and that's why I think he's a gem, because of his price and because of his point cost. Because I mean, 211 is expensive, but I could pay 300 points for Superman. It's easily the same dial. So
I'll give it. I don't want to sound like I think he's a terrible figure. I just think he's overrated because
there are better things
he's a
in the
good
game.
Figure that's made out to be a god.
There are better things in the game, but they're like $60. So I'm saying for $4 you could have something the same price as 4.
That's true.
So that's how I mean.
All right.
What about you? You got some things, or am I
Alright.
still on my area? What are we doing here?
Let's get into some figures we've really liked, and let's spend a little more time on that. Hopefully in the negatives, because I want to end on a positive note.
Okay.
Um,
I'm pretty sure we're in agreement with almost everything else. On
yeah,
the
I think
table.
everything on the table we both like. Why? See, what you're looking at here is you got some of the more rare stuff over here, and you got some of the more common stuff over here. That's mainly because we had time to grab some figures from boxes, and
He was next to the rare stuff.
I was next to the rare stuff, of course. I always got my money. So I'm gonna let you go first, and we will talk about some of a couple hidden gems. Save your biggest one for last, though.
That's
And I'm gonna work on a couple here, and I'll save my big one for last too. Why don't you get three?
Well,
Why don't we each get three, and we'll map a big one?
Okay.
Like
Well,
Christmas.
first one that I'll talk. We've already talked about Weaponer, so he's off the
Yeah,
table.
get weapon off too.
He's not gonna go where Hanu is, though.
No,
So
no,
he
he's
doesn't
not Hanu.
deserve to where go Hanu.
No, I liked pulling them. I'll say this: in sealed, there's nothing to stop him. There's just nothing that's
Another
stop him.
Weaponer.
Oh, well, another weapon. Timing, roll stopped him, dice
Yeah.
stopped him, but figures didn't stop him.
I think a guy that I really enjoyed, and I played a couple of drafts with this guy, and I've got past him a lot, and I think people were very idiotic for passing me this, is the rock guy, Beethoven.
Beethoven.
This dude is legitimately, first off, he's fist bumping you. Who doesn't like that? See? Boop.
So,
Second off, he's got a sharpshooter. Always great. See through opposing characters. He's also got this nice little power that says if nobody's within 2 of him, lines of fire are blocked to him. That includes pulse wave people. So, he also has precision strike and range combat expert. So he's always going to do 1. He's going to ignore those super senses. And I think for someone with, 10 range? He just sits back here. I would put him up on a building and be like, hey, nobody's on 2 with me. I'm just going to snipe you down. And that's what he would do. And he was great. No one really, when he first came out, people were kind of like, oh, this is cool. But then once wave 1 went away, people forgot about him. So if you haven't done your month 5 yet, pull this dude. He needs to go on your team. Month 6, put this guy on your team. Go with your next one.
Definitely underrated. I'm going to go with a guy I just used last night. I'm going to go with Black Lantern Gallius Zed. First of all, I think the trait is awesome because it screws over 2 of the biggest powers in the game right now. You got the pink battery giving you shape change. You got everything giving you super senses. This guy says, you miss it, all my stats are up by 1 to the end of my next turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's something we haven't. I'm not gonna say meta, but if you see that place, if your opponent puts that piece on the field and you have no idea what he does, you better read the card because he's coming.
Better hope you're not playing the green power battery either. Because he affects Green Lantern keyword. You get negatives while he gets positives. If
Yeah.
you fail those.
So, and what the trait I'm referencing for those of you who don't have the card in front of you like I do. It's a Despair of the Green Lanterns. When an opposing character rolls for leadership, shape change, or super senses, and the result is a fail, it's a 1 through 4, modify Gallius Zed's combat values by +1 until the end of your next turn. If that character has the Green Lantern Corps keyword, modify their combat values by -1 in addition. Now, something I just kind of glossed over in me speaking that is, it says 1 through 4, so if you have a power that allows you to succeed on a 1 through 4,
Does it say 1 through 4?
it says 1 through 4. It does not say successful.
Wow, that's not.
So you can succeed on that. My stats are still up by 1. So what you want to do?
Spider-Man at range.
No.
Yeah.
What's some good strategy with him is use him as your last attacker. Get all your use those little 50-point attacks and maybe miss some shape changes and stuff, and you got a cranked out dude there. So that's my first piece I like to talk about. Let's hit me with your second.
Okay, my other one that I really, really enjoy is Black Lantern Jonathan Stewart, or as I like to call him, Black Stewart, because I call all the John Stewarts by their lantern name, Indigo Stewart, Green Stewart, because it's easier for me when I'm playing a game. But the reason I love this guy is he has Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter is one of my favorite powers. And he has a bandana. That's really cool. But other than that,
Solid Snake.
I can't really see because there's a light on me. But he has stealth. Is this indigo? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah.
I thought it was black when I grabbed it.
He's been holding indigo the whole time.
Yes, but I'm still gonna talk about
I
Black
do know
Stewart.
Black Lantern's dial. He does start with stealth and
He has stealth. He has
Psychic.
Psychic Blast. He also has Range Combat Expert with Precision Strike and Sharpshooter. And what's cool about that is he can't be reducible or lower than 2 if you have nobody adjacent to you. So that's pretty cool. So he can use Psychic Blast with Precision Strike, and you can't reduce it more than 2. So, or like with Invincible. So then you got his other power with his Still Energy from range, which he gets on a second click, which is pretty good. So he can just constantly heal, which I didn't realize was Indigo, so that's my bad. I'm going to blame our
Do you know the
cameraman.
points on the Black Lantern one?
I think he's like 130.
Alright, because I think
Yeah, I think he's more expensive. I can't. It's 130.
Indigo's 130. I don't know where he is
Yeah.
on points. But definitely a great figure. When I faced off against him, it is
They
good.
both have bandanas. That's what confused me. I didn't think Indigo had a bandana.
And they both got that sniper rifle thing going on.
Yeah, see, they all kind of look similar. That's my bad. I blame our cameraman.
It's all good. He does his job admirably, I'd say. My second figure to talk about is Moro. One of those figures you were probably pulling out probably now at this point in World Light, and they're going, man, Moro, not an entity, putting it back. No, Moro is not to be messed with. What he does is anytime one of your figures gets KO'd, I believe it's just friendly, gets KO'd, you put their dial on his card.
If they have Green Lantern.
If they have Green Lantern Keepers keyword. Yeah. And you put them on any click that you want, and he can use all the powers they have on that click. I believe it's just standard, though. Not going to quote myself. I don't have the card in front of me. But what's cool is with that green battery you got through the OP event, is that thing's giving everybody Green Lantern Corps keyword. Everyone that gets the constructs. So, what you're doing is you're putting it on some crazy people like Bizarro, and you're putting on some crazy people like... Anyone's got crazy stats, crazy powers. And he goes, you leave him in the back, you end the game with him. He's your Mariano Rivera of clicks right now. And what happens is that you let your pieces get KO'd. Not a great strategy, but if you know this guy's coming, you can live with it. And he just charges up, say you got some little Psychic Blast on that dial, you got some Running Shot, you got some Pulse Wave. He's got all this stuff on him. In addition to what he's getting from maybe the battery or whatever else you got on him, I think he's drastically underrated. A low point cost at 128. Good range, good solid figure that no one really sees coming right now. That's my second figure.
My third out of all these ones up here.
You want to end on 3? You want to end on 3? We'll end on 3. Let's end on 3.
It's going to be Star Sapphire, Guy Gardner.
Surprise. I pictured you going a different direction.
Where'd you think I was going?
I thought you were going to go with Blue Recruit.
Okay. Blue Recruit is good, but I like this guy because he does have Running Shot Psychic Blast. He also has, on his dial, something that I think is really amazing. He has Shape Change and Mystics, which I love. I love Shape Change already. I love Mystics. But it goes a little bit farther. If he gets attacked with someone who has a special power on their dial, doesn't even have to be using a special power, just a special power on your dial, you take 2 Mystic damage. And that is huge in a sealed, that's huge in constructed. You don't want to take 2 damage for just dealing me 1 damage. Or 2 damage. Even if you KO that guy, that is still a pretty pricey thing to take. Because if it's this guy...
Especially if he's already hit you. If he's already run up and Psychic Blast you, and you're firing back at him, and you're taking 2 more...
Yeah, so that's possibly 5 to,
Whatever you hit him for.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2 at that point.
Yeah.
Hit.
And, especially if Weaponer's going against him in a sealed, Weaponer's now on his sidestep click. And
Weaponer becomes free points.
Yeah. So, and that's why I like this guy. He's not that much. He's 103 points, it looks like. Yeah. 103 points. Pretty good dial. And he does, after he gets hit for a couple clicks, he does lose that trait. But right on his end, he has Pulse Wave in that click. So he has 2 clicks of Pulse Wave and 2 clicks of that Mystic Shape Change. So he can kind of live after he takes some damage too. So, I mean, it's pretty resourceful and pretty good. So what about your third one?
I think you know where I'm going with this one, don't you?
Okay.
I'm going to go with, for me, the standout figure in Wave 1, the standout figure in War of Light on Zone, mainly based on point cost. I'm going to go with the Common Prime 2-2. I'm going to put his construct over there. I know we said we weren't going to talk about batteries, but I will mention the construct because he does come with it. This is a great figure. This is 99 points. It is a Prime, which I'm always leery of Prime. Ever since, I'm going to say Voodoo came out, I'm always leery of Primes because my thing is it better than Voodoo? And I'm of course referencing Brother Voodoo from Spider-Man. This guy is a piece that I commonly reach for before I reach for Voodoo. He's got a long 9 range, 11 movement running shot, pulse wave. It's a 5 square pulse wave range on the 6 he's already running shotting for. That's a big swing. 18 defense super senses. He's got a trait that if no one's within, or not trait, that's special power. If no one's within 3 of him, he gets outwit at a 9 range. It's pretty crazy. I find he's a great flanking piece. You put him on the side of the map while you guys move up the middle, and he does his thing, slowly works around pulse waving. I actually used this piece in Iraq. Did really well for me. I think, and as the dial goes on, it drops, but it drops in a weird way where he goes from being a running shot pulse waver to just a great standalone sniper on click 3. You got persistent strike and range combat expert with 3 damage, so he can hit you potentially with 5.
Mm-hmm.
And this is with a 9 range coming at you. It's not something you see a lot of these days. I just think every click. The last one isn't great. He's got some regen, but even regen, you're on last click. You regen for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're back on the sniper spot. So as long as you just get hit on that regen, you can keep sniping, keep going. Great figure. And then with the net, is allowing you to put out 2 hindering terrain markers for free that they got to break away from. And I believe right now it's still stated that even if they have phasing, they got to break away from it.
Because you're not.
Even if you normally wouldn't have to break for it, you got to break out of the net. So I think them two, you add the net for 8 points. It's 107. I don't think you're going to find a better 107 points in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's that good.
And you can even go 104 and give him shape change. So
with the decoy, yeah.
Yeah, or 105. Sorry.
Yeah, it would be 105. But
yeah.
Still great. Still good.
And he's my favorite.
And like you said, you're referencing rock. You're referencing 300 modern, no tactics. These aren't considered tactics. They're not resources. They're on there, constructs. So they're constructs is what they are. So you're talking about, I think this guy is a piece to watch out for in the coming season. We're going to bring it home right now, guys. We've talked about Warlight. We've gone over what we liked, what we didn't like. You've gotten James's take. You've gotten my take. We debated over a essential piece in the set.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good point to call it a wrap here. Remember to keep it locked to the channel. Like, subscribe, spread the word.
You know what? Tell us what you think about Warlight in the comments.
Yeah,
you know,
we want to hear your opinion on Warlight.
Your favorite pieces, your least favorite pieces.
What you liked, what you didn't.
By the way, we are sponsored by Dice Addiction. We will have a link to their website in the description. Yeah. These lovely ladies right here are going to be on the website or our eBay page, which I'll put a link to that in there too. They are going to be eBay prices. They're not going to be store retail prices because these were not bought as a store. These were bought as personal stuff. So, but if you need one, they're there. Tons of other stuff on that eBay page. Tons of other stuff on that website. Like I said, go look at it. Give it a shot. These videos will be on those pages too. And I'm actually going to be starting blogging on that page. What I call James's Fun Facts. I've already got one that I'm going to be adding here pretty soon. So you can check that out if you want to.
I'm going to be hitting you with some team building tips. We still have Adventures of the Cameraman coming soon. And remember, guys, keep it classy.